Okay, so I built a recoup tank. Herald of Thunder, Plague Bearer, Embrace Madness. Um, at some point, probably people are already like, what? So let's first take a look at how it plays before we go and delve into the mechanics. Right now, we have nothing. No charges, no nothing. Let's turn that on. Alright, we get in here, and the first thing we notice is that we should be up to some amount of power charge. We've got 5 now. Our cap is 9. We'll probably see 9 soon enough. And some things, you know, especially with the resist changes, they're just more tanky than they used to be. Why can I get through here? Oh, pathing. It's a terrible map. So now we have an issue because we do not have enough sustain yet. But as soon as we get in, we start getting up to our power charges again. We're at 8 power charges. Anyway, this is neat and all that, but can we do better? Yes, we can. We can do chain explosions a la... what's that class called? Oh, the other ascendancy that does chain explosions, which... it's too low right now. Means that we can also get to the point where we do more damage. So we now activate our Embrace Madness. Our Embrace Madness actually increases damage substantially, and we can turn that off now. And at the same time, we have 500,000 over there on our Plague Bearer. So we can use Embrace Madness to power up Plague Bearer. You'll see our power charges and frenzy charges on occasion get up to 9. We also can get frenzy charges from like attacking with frenzy. We do have that. I can make it better. Ooh, I need to turn that off. There's no reason to leave that on. And of course, this works better in a map that isn't a maze. Haha. Anyway, so as you might guess, Storm Secret for Herald of Thunder, because that makes our Herald of Thunder do lots of damage. If we get clipped by things, you should see our energy shield go up very quickly. I'm not sure it wasn't. Oh, we didn't have any power charges. Once we have power charges, we get our energy shield back very, very fast. And the reason for that is we recoup 140% of damage taken as energy shield. Which pretty much means that for every point of damage you take, you recover 1.4 points over 4 seconds. If you recover 1.4 points over 4 seconds, then that means that you're netting. Netting is always nice. It's the wrong button. I needed this button. There we go. So that's one mechanic we're using. Yeah. And then the other mechanic we're using is we are using Embrace Madness combined with Plague Bearer. Embrace Madness has a cooldown. The cooldown is 8 seconds, which is nice because for 8 seconds we get these pops, right? Super cool. Actually, for longer than that you get the pops. Depends on how long you want to keep Embrace Madness going. Now the drawback of that is that now for 8 seconds we don't have all that cool stuff, but we do have a filled up Plague Bearer. So now we can use our Plague Bearer for that. Why am I here? Habit. I like file side areas. I like file skills. Anyway. So, what does this character die to? Leaving Embrace Madness turned on too long. Running out of mana also will kill you. But that's about it. Like, those are really the biggest threats that you're facing. And yeah, it's other than that, this is just Herald of Thunder, lots of recovery mechanics, and you have some of the Herald of Thunder playstyle. You have some of the abilities that People like being able to, I guess everything's dead, have pops, and you can do all of that on a fraction of the budget. So let's take a look at the gear, and let's turn this off. Haha! Alright, gear. We are using a Beast Fur Shawl. A Beast Fur Shawl is a trash unique as far as most people are concerned, but it has this unique stat of increased energy shield recovery rate. When Beast Fur Shawl was made, recoup didn't exist. So the fact that you have 40% increased recoup, well, wasn't considered. Now, getting your recoup up for energy shield is very easy, because we have the Graven secret cloth belt. It turns your power charges into absorption charges, and your absorption charges, you have to hold Alt, give you 12% elemental damage taken as energy shield per absorption charge. So for all the elemental damage that you take, we get 12% per absorption charge. We have 9 of these max, I believe. So that means we can have a maximum of about 100% energy shield recoup per for elemental damage. We of course can now apply our 40% increased recovery rate to this, which does work, which brings us to 140%. So that's these two items. Getting our power charges and getting our power charges up, Malachai's Loop. Malachai's Loop has some okay energy shield. It has +2 maximum power charges, which is nice. 20% chance to gain power charge on hit. Well, we hit a lot because we have that Herald of Thunder going. And then we have a blank line, and a blank line, because those other conditions can't happen. We are using a Badge of the Brotherhood, which is super cheap now that there's better amulets than Badge of the Brotherhood. It's not like super cheap, but it's pretty cheap. Even though we convert our cap, well, we equal our cap of power charges to absorption charges, we still have a 9 power charge cap, which means that with Badge the Brotherhood, we can have a 9 frenzy charge cap. Yay! So yeah, this is actually a good unique. That doesn't really fit the rest of the team, I guess. But yeah, it's convenient. We don't have power charges, so the only thing we really get is cooldown recovery of travel skills. We can't use power charges. We can lose a frenzy charge when you use a travel skill. Biggest reason you can die with this character is when you run too much cast when damage taken and you run out of mana and your travel skill shuts down. We have 2 Storm Secrets. This one has a, how much? 49%, and this one is a 49%. This one gives 19% increased grace. This one gives 17% increased grace. We're not running grace. The biggest reason to get them corrupted is if you want to lower your of your lightning resistance. In our case, we are triple res matched for Wise Oak, which gives us more penetration. So that's why this is convenient. And I also wasn't sure if I wanted to go with the thing that shuts down your auras. So I could, if I wanted to, fit Grace in here and then have the bonus 36% of Grace effect, which is good, considering it both is the more multiplier as well as the flat. So yeah, it's convenient. We're using Hyaon's Fury. I used this last league, but I used it primarily for the massive lightning damage. In this one, I'm actually using it for the lightning damage per frenzy charge. We have 9 frenzy charges, so it's 180% increased lightning damage, which is awesome, right? We have a lot of life gained on kill per frenzy charge. Our life is 1, we're using CI. We take increased damage per frenzy charge. We have a lot of sources of increased damage. We have 9% here, and the Beast Fur Shawl gives 5%. So we have 14% increased damage taken. our recoup for all elemental damage is more than 100%, so the only thing that really affects is our maximum. It doesn't really affect our other numbers too much. Energy shield. Yep. Energy shields. Yep. Alright. Good talk. And then we have these Beacon of Madness boots. The reason we're running these Beacon of Madness boots is because they give us the pops. The pop, it does a couple of things. First of all, when you turn it on, you are affected by Glorious Madness. Glorious Madness makes all your damage poison, which means that all my Herald of Thunder damage is poisoning, which is then filling up our where are you? Plague Bearer. Right, so we can fill up our Plague Bearer in just a few seconds of running Beacon of Madness. Now you only want to run Beacon of Madness for a few seconds because the penalties start to add up. So effectively this is an auto bomber, which I managed to turn into a 2-button build, because you turn on Glorious Madness for 8 seconds, then you turn on your Plague Bearer for 8 seconds, and you cycle back and forth. Plague Bearer has a duration of 8 seconds while it depletes, which is enough time to turn on your Glorious Madness again. Works kind of nicely that way and works well together. So yeah, this is a okay build. As you can see, it is not min-maxed. There's like empty sockets in here. I'm running a Vessel of Vinctar for Lightning Pen, which just gives me 6% penetration. A Ruby Flask, which gives us me increased evasion, which doesn't do anything. So it's just 6 charges on whenever I'm hit. We have a Taste of Hate, which converts physical damage into elemental damage. And of course, we recoup the elemental damage, plus resist it and take less of it and all that stuff. Then we have the Wise Oak. We are triple res capped, so that means that we have the 6% reduced damage taken from each element, and we have the 8% penetration. So we have 8% penetration here, we have 6% penetration here, so that is 14%, and this is scaled by Flask effect. And the last thing we have is Onslaught for some attack speed, some movement speed, and chance to freeze, shock, and ignite. And on top of that, this mod of 49% increased charges recovery, 25% reduced effect. Well, that's just 49% increased charge recovery, because this thing just gives us Onslaught. There is no reduced effect of Onslaught being computed in this mode. 3, it's Pathfinder, it's always Pathfinder. The 3 is awful. So what are we doing? We're picking up the power charges. We pick a power charge here in a dual socket. We pick up power charge here in a dual socket, and we pick up a power charge here and a dual socket. We have to fix some strength here, which is unfortunate, but that's what we have this cluster for. We have strength over here on the dual, energy shield mostly. We are using Lone Messenger, which prevents us from using auras. I don't know if this is the right call. Adding Graves to this build would be, possibly quite nice. We have Self-Fulfilling Prophecy for crit, which turns on Elemental Overload. Yay. Lasting Impression, which gives us 80% increased damage over time. Well, we have 2 of these. These duals are relatively cheap because this is not a combination people want. And this really helps fill up our Plague Bearer. We also have Poison Proliferation. Right, so when we get these pops going, these all cause poison. They are large poisons. There's a chance of them doing double damage. The base damage is, I think, is 40%. So double damage is 80% with increases on top of it. Oh no, it's 40% of their life. 20% of that is damage. So it's 8% of their total life pool per second. This makes it 16% plus all the increases that we have going on. It adds up. These things proliferate nicely. Energy shield, energy shield, energy shield. I don't know if this is the right call, these nodes. There's a lot of parts about this build where I'm not sure it's the right call. But the whole thing put together is working well enough. But the question is, is this something worth replicating? First of all, if you're looking at it, so Storm Secrets, by my math, unless you have additional sources of cooldown recovery, and a fair amount of it, I might add, having a total of 90% increased frequency between 2 rings is as good as having 100%. The only big difference is whether or not you're paying in Exalts or you're paying in Chaos. Right? These top numbers people pay a lot for. Do you need them to be corrupted with Grace? No, I'm not even running Grace. Do you need them to be corrupted? No, but it's convenient for me right now. I had other plans for them, which is why I picked them up early in the league. I think one of them costs 9C, the other one costs 10C. They're fine. This is a C. A good roll on this will be a few C. I think I picked this up relatively early on in the league, and it was like 50C for a 6-link, with a high roll on the increased energy shield recovery rate. I have a better one that I'm trying to link, which is why I don't have fusings, but I haven't succeeded. Disciple of Slaughter is an expensive anoint on a relatively expensive amulet. The power charge stuff between the Brotherhood, Badge of the Brotherhood combined with the Hyaon's Fury, not sure if this is the right call, honestly. It ramps up quite nicely. You can start doing a lot of damage in the long term, but in the short term, it doesn't really buy you a whole lot. This belt, I don't think anyone's using it, so it's pretty much free. Boots, people hate them, so they're pretty much free. And the Malachai's loop is also maligned, so it's pretty much free. So we are mostly running trash uniques, and the hardest part is to get people to respond to your trade request. Then the rings are like okay-ish, and the badge is the only really expensive item in here. The Flasks themselves, I think that the high roll on Taste of Hate was a bit expensive. Everything else was pretty cheap. So yeah, it's kind of like an auto bumper. It plays a little bit different. It has some tech in it that makes me want to consider other options. But it's a different way to offset the damage from Storm Secret. We actually more than offset it. We offset it so far that we're actually recovering life. But it also means that, of course, you can skim there, right? Like just because we're recovering life doesn't mean you can't just cut corners here now and take more damage. As far as links are not ideal. Elemental Focus, Cruelty. Cruelty is nice because on occasion we do poison with this skill. Lightning Penetration. Herald of Thunder, level 18. Yeah. Add a lightning damage, level 18, and energy leech support. Energy leech support, I mean, you're not doing it for the energy leech. Right? And the reason you're not doing it for the energy leech is because we're leeching a lot of energy shield already. Like 1.8%, I don't think makes a difference, because this guy gives us 2%? No, 20% of lightning damage leeched as life. Now with our passive tree, we leech energy shield instead of life. So this leech goes from 20% to 22%. Yeah, it doesn't do anything. So there's a lot of opportunities to optimize there. You can get better gems in there. You can level up your gems more. This node made a big difference. The 10% increased mana reservation. Without this node, we have like 73 life or mana, and that means that on occasion our 14 mana cost dash was out of mana because of cast and damage taken, which was unfortunate. Other things. This is lightning damage with non-critical strikes is lucky. Yay. Lightning pen, increased lightning damage. I don't know if this wheel is worth it or if I should go for a wheel like this, which gives me 8% penetration over here. This is only 6%. So this wheel probably should be cut. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those 6 nodes, I could put in a large cluster and a small cluster. Yeah, actually probably a large cluster and a small cluster. Which would be doing more for me than what this is doing. But that requires better gear. Strength fixing. I get some strength here. This guy gives us a lot of strength. We get 20 strength on this guy. Melee damage, nobody cares. Fire resistance. I mean, I'm res capped on it right now, so I'm not changing it. Yeah. Mana issues, if you want to, you could take 10% of damage, recoup this mana, which would fix your mana forever. And that would mean that you don't need this node. But that's still 2 more skill points than just taking this node. So probably not worth it. Energy shield masteries. I don't believe there's much I want out of this. Yeah, I can get like 30 energy shield from the mana as ES. The rest of it is not very useful. Anyway, that's where we're at for this build. I'm pretty happy with it. There's definitely a lot more opportunity to improve it and tweak it. We're only 79. Yeah, level 79, and this map was level 72. So, yeah, it makes sense that we have to do a little bit more work, considering my builds are never that amazing in practice. But I think there's opportunity, so I'll keep playing around with it.